Hi, I'm Dr. Joan Friedman. Welcome back to Twin Tuesday. I was asked to do a little video on adolescence and twins, so I thought I'd share just a few of the points that I made in that video with my Twin Tuesday audience. I guess the thing that strikes me most is the idea that adolescence, if you're a singleton or twins, is the time and developmentally when you are trying to define yourself and your identity and your self-esteem and how you want to be viewed and known and all those important sorts of things. And twins have this added, of course, difficulty of not only at some point wanting to break away from the twinship, but then also having to negotiate the separation from your family. It's a complicated process. It certainly has its pros and cons, and I'm not going to go into all of those right now. I just want to focus on what happens when one twin wants to separate and kind of be on her own, and her sister has no wish to do that. In fact, feels very, very endangered and angry and upset that her twin is abandoning her for another peer group, different friends, different activities, different ideas, a different look. It can be so earth-shattering for both of them. So the twin who's trying to define herself in a different way is doing so, and she might be acting out, I mean, doing things adolescents do. Like she might be experimenting with drugs or with alcohol, or she might have a boyfriend. And all the while, her twin sister is left out of this because she's not doing that. That's not where she's at. She's not that kind of a person. But they have a lot of course, dissension between the two of them. And it's so interesting because their privacy and their secrecy in some way has defined their twinship up to this point. But now, the fact that they may be differentiating, they do have to keep secrets from one another rather than keeping secrets between themselves. And oftentimes, this is seen as an awful betrayal by one twin. And oftentimes, too, the twin who feels left behind acts as a tattletale, a kind of like the messenger to the family of what her twin sister might be doing or not doing. And of course, this triadic situation creates an amazing amount of anger and dissension and distrust among all the family members. So it impacts the family, it also impacts the twinship. And if it's not remediated or recognized in some way, it can really lead to a lot of detrimental feelings down the line. I think parents really need to, in this case, be very aware that they have to parent two very different children. And they have to attune to their different emotional needs. So even though they're twins, and even though they're taking a divergent path, and even though they seem not to be getting along and fighting excessively, parents need to address what they're going through as individuals and not let the twin issues cloud their capacity to make limits and boundaries and judgments, and not to get caught up in having things be fair and really focusing on how one needs to take care of the other, because those two issues in themselves will already be combustible to the situation that's already rather difficult. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.